My name is Rebekah-Breeze Johnson, but you can just call me Breeze. Just before I start, I would like to inform you that this talk is a little bit on the dark side. So if you're a sensitive viewer, there are going to be a few scary images. So if you are a sensitive viewer, now's your time to escape. So let me start. So today, I'm going to be talking about me, which is very weird and it's somewhat uncomfortable. I'm not used to talking about myself to a bunch of people, and it seems incredibly narcissistic. But due to the nature of this expo, I'm going to become very self-centered and share my honest thoughts and opinions with you guys. So mainly I'm going to be talking about homeschooling. My talk is going to be a little different to the previous two that we just saw now. I'm going to be talking about homeschooling, some of my artworks, which are over there, and mainly questioning the system, which you'll see why now. So let's start at the beginning. I'm 16 years old. I live on a beautiful small building, as you can see. It's overlooking Sardinia Bay. I have the most wonderful, loving family, and of course, I'm homeschooled. I grew up as a full-out tomboy, short hair, jeans, the shirts, t-shirts, the whole deal. And I always had a rather odd view of life. Both my parents are extremely musically and artistically talented, and so I inherited their awesome genes. Throughout most of my childhood, I was viewed by other kids as extremely strange. I didn't act like a girl or dress like a girl, their version of a girl, and I could beat up all the boys I knew in under 5 minutes. But sadly though, with the coming of puberty, that has changed. Now I can't even beat any of them in an arm wrestle, which is quite sad. But I could never understand why some of the kids I hung out with always said things to me like, "You're not a girl, you have short hair, you're playing in the mud, you're wearing shorts." It offended me quite a lot at that age. It hurt my feelings. And I was incredibly frustrated with the world. I still am. People, so I discovered, love sticking other people in boxes. If there's someone who doesn't fit into the Barbie or Ken box, they automatically assume there's something wrong with them. It's like their minds are programmed to fit into a certain mold that society pressurizes them into. But through my frustrations and anger came a new and fantastic talent, which I'm forever grateful for, and that is the ability to express my emotions and my thoughts through art. Now, I was about 12 years old when my artistic side really kicked in, and this just so happened to be the same age that I discovered bands. Let's just hope this thing works. Like AC/DC, awesome band, Nirvana, and Rage Against the Machine. Awesome bands. I started making anarchist-style drawings that reflected or expressed my frustrations towards the world's ignorance and willingness to just go along with the crowd and to never question the system and to allow corrupt corporate control. Rage Against the Machine, which is these guys, was the perfect band to listen to while drawing these things. They're a political band. They sing, or rap, or scream a lot about how corrupt certain governments are, and how the majority of people seem to just sit back and allow all these types of horrific things to happen without doing anything. Now, the first set of drawings I ever did that had any rhyme or reason were done in the year 2011, so that's about almost 5 years ago. I'll show you some of them now. Can you guys see? There's another one. Sorry. There's another one. So right now you might be thinking, oh my goodness, this child needs serious mental help. But let me assure you, they already tried putting me in a mental institution, and all that happened was they kicked me straight back out. And I'm joking, they did not do that. None of you laughed, which is extremely awkward. No, I'm not bad, I think. So a couple of times, I swear this happened, maybe 4 or 5, maybe even 6 times, I would show this to people, and the first thing they would do was give my mom the phone number of a good psychiatrist, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. I guess they were just a little shocked. Oh, Mike. Sorry. I guess they were just a little shocked at the idea of a 12-year-old girl drawing such vivid images, which is quite understandable. As time went on, I began developing a series of this chainsaw-wielding executioner dude who represents a person or persons under the control of a corrupt corporation. And it basically ends with him crouched on the floor, covered in blood and weeping amongst piles of dead bodies. Sorry. I began conjuring up a story for this guy, who he was, where he came from, and why he was killing so many innocent people. And only now, about 5 years later, have I almost got the full story, and now a new series leading up to my latest one this year in 2015, new artwork. So now before I show you this dude and the evolution of him, his progression, I just want to tell you a bit about him. Okay, here goes. He was named the 1911-9-20-26-15 SAVEW, which, when translated, means schizo, self-aware, biologically enhanced weapon. So he doesn't have a name, but rather a code or branding. The world he comes from, this guy comes from, the new guy I'm going to show you, is perhaps a futuristic one or a more exaggerated reflection of today's world. And basically, most of the world's natural resources are all owned by one massive corporation. Most of the food, water, and fuel are all patented. And he is one of millions of these biologically enhanced soldiers that this corrupt corporation uses to maintain control over territories. Now, most of these soldiers are test tube babies, bred for war, and roughly 80% of them are all clones with specifically chosen genes. All of them are boosted with hormones and steroids to accelerate growth and muscle mass, and all of them are sort of brainwashed, is the word, to have extremely unstable emotions. Now, the emotions that are pumped up most, these guys, are emotions such as anger, hatred, and dread, whilst others are almost completely suppressed, like love, compassion, and fear. Their actions are completely governed by emotional impulses. This prevents them from thinking too much and allows them to be easily controlled. All you have to do is channel their anger and hatred towards a specific target. So, long story short, this new guy that I'm about to show you, he was one of the very few naturally bred soldiers here in South Africa, and this allowed him to have a couple of unique genes that allowed him to more easily overcome these emotional impulses and actually use his mind to reason and think. So he escaped, blew up some stuff, running some explosions, doing this, and made a home for himself in the Karoo. Now, I haven't figured out what he does next, but I like to think he's maybe chilling next to a braai somewhere in some vastly remote area. So let me show you his evolution, starting in 2011. This is the first one, the mark again. A couple of months later, the new one, which has got a psycho face. It's starting to get more proportionally correct. And a couple of months later, I really like this one, I love the jaw. Yes. This one is huge. He's about the size of that guy over there. I came up to about his chest. And then this is the latest one, which is over there as well, that I've done in 2015. This is the Mark 9. Here's some close-ups. You guys want to check out, this is his chest, the club, and his angry looking face. So now this guy's a great thing to have in your room. I feel like I have a personal bodyguard always watching over me, and he scares off unwelcome little wandering kids, which is a great bonus. Yeah, so he's my pride and joy, and that's his story. Now, moving on. Art is like an escape route for me. It's almost like a type of therapy. You can delve completely into your own mind and imagination and become totally absorbed in what you're creating. The world becomes a sort of murky blur, and I remember quite a few times either my mom or one of my siblings would be calling me for ages, and I wouldn't hear them because I'd be so concentrated on what I was doing, up to the point that they'd have to come stand right in my face and shout, "Breeze!" And then I would snap out and go, "What's going on?" I can't tell you how much art has kept me sane throughout all these crazy teenage years, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're a teenager, to take up some kind of creative hobby or even specialize in it. It really is a good help. I've always loved that saying, one picture is worth 1,000 words, and this is absolutely true. There's some pictures that we don't even possess the words to describe, and with the limitlessness of art, you can get any message across, even multiple messages. This fact is incredibly important to me, and I try to get some kind of message across with all the artworks I do, even if it's a small message. So now, the message I want to get across to you today with this dude, guy, man, person, thing, is question the system. Be aware of what's going on around you. Have your own opinion. We should not all be just a bunch of identical minions whose only purpose is to eat, sleep, and breed, and whose only use is to serve a system of government that sometimes we're not even aware exists. The sad thing is, most people want to be ignorant. They don't want to know about the mass murders and the starving countries and the corrupt governments and of the burning of earth and companies gaining control over our natural resources and chemical foods deforming our children and even hell. Most people don't want to know about the horrific bits of reality because then they might feel guilty for not doing anything about it. I'm sorry, I know this all sounds a bit dark and depressing, but I'm going to carry on. This fear of awareness is also one of the reasons that I think, don't shout at me or anything, and I think lots of people defy the existence of God, heaven, and hell, or any spiritual realm. God, heaven, and hell is linked to judgment, and judgment is linked to guilt. If we possess the knowledge of God, or heaven or hell, or the spiritual realm, then we feel inclined to do something about it. All humans, this is true, whether you believe it or not, all humans are programmed to know that deep inside, even if it's very, very deep inside, that there is a God. You cannot escape it. If we all possess the basic knowledge of God, and if we choose to suppress that knowledge and do nothing about it, then we will have an everlasting, nagging feeling and a deeply buried feeling of dread. This is also one of the reasons why I think a lot of people fear death. They fear that after death, when they come face to face with the reality that they chose to ignore, they'll be judged accordingly and condemned to eternal suffering and misery in hell. Now that's just the tip of 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 the iceberg. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? And if you don't, that's okay. It's fine. So let's see from a positive bit. Yay. Actually, no, that's much better. Knowledge is power, and with knowledge we can do incredible things. There's a quote from Mandela which I really, really love, and that is, education is the most powerful weapon that we can use to change the world. This is absolutely true, and I know I'm supposed to be talking about me and art, but I must share this with you guys because it's been running around in my head for years, and if I keep it bottled up any longer, I'll most certainly go mad if it hasn't happened already. Now, although there's so much seemingly pointless death, misery, and depression in the world, and although our ozone layer is disintegrating and our natural resources are becoming corrupted, and although there's war and poverty, there's also so much joy and beauty out there too. All is most certainly not lost. And if we possess the knowledge of these things, we can fix them. It's not doom and despair. Okay, sorry, brace yourselves. Another image here. Okay. There is a place called hell. Sorry, there is. And that's a bit scary, I know, I'm sorry. Demons, the devil, and pure evil does exist. But so does pure goodness. So do angels. So does heaven. And so does a pure divine God. A pure good divine God. Knowledge of these things is key. So now, for those of you who are aware of the incredible corruption that man uses to control the ignorant, and for those of you who are aware of companies like Monsanto who are claiming ownership to some of our Earth's plants, Ruth's going to be talking a lot about that later. So if you guys don't know who Monsanto is, you'll know by the end of today. And for those of you who are aware of the fact that Barack Obama is in fact an alien, he is running tests and all that. But seriously, I don't really talk seriously when his face is there. But seriously, forget about his face. For those of you who are aware of these things, you must know that there is hope. And our hope is knowledge. Knowledge and God. So research and learn and put your knowledge into practice. And for those of you who don't know about all this crazy stuff that's going on in the earth right now, please learn. There's so much going on in the world other than in your own little comfort bubble. There are lots of other people out there in the world that need help. And now for those of you who do know about all this stuff, and yet choose to ignore it and suppress the knowledge of it, just for the sake of your own comfort and continue supporting whatever it may be, you should feel highly ashamed of yourselves. So don't suppress the knowledge that you gain just for your own comfort. Use it to help others and protect the earth. Don't trust any old football that's just put on the throne. Be aware of what's going on around you. Ask questions and seek answers. Thirst for knowledge and a better understanding of life. Don't become meaningless, pointless, ignorant lumps of flesh just moping around on the earth, consuming all our air for no good reason. Don't become trapped in a box. Don't become mindless sheep just following the crowd for fear of being considered weird. Don't become stuck in the system. Question the system.